Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. How Dominance, Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and want to see more. So we're going to have a look into results that have happened on the 5th of June. That's Saturday, with a few games. Well, we're going to look into the 3 Challenge Cup games, the 2 semi-finals in the men's and the women's Challenge Cup final, as well as a brief insight into the friendly games that went on between 2 NARL teams and the American Rugby League USARL, 2 of their teams also. So let's begin. So we begin with the first game, the championship game, the Women's Challenge Cup final. It was part of a triple header. It was the first game on the card, which I have a little reservations in. It should be the middle of the card so that you get the men's audience from both sides having a passive look into it at minimum. Anyway, I digress. But I continue because Saints were involved in the final in the women's and also the semi-finals of the men's, so their crowds could have mingled and watched both games. That's my only gripe about it, because the spectacle was excellent for the women's final. Saints did indeed come into this game as favourites for the game against a newly put together York team who have yet to fully bed in, going off their previous game's loss against many of the girls' former team Castlefield last week. Don't get me wrong, the first 15 minutes was all York. York had one try ruled out as Kelsey Gentles knocked on early on in the game, almost leading to wave upon wave of attack from York, and did really well. But after the 15 minutes, Danielle Bush, Saints winger, went in on the left wing after a decent pass by the pass was by Faye Gaskin, because I don't know why the name eluded me, because she liked a response, because she made the great cutout of two of her own players and 2 York players to the wing of Bush, and then it was a great finish. It was just to finish off the try for St. Helens. So this was the start of everything to go through. The problem is, it wasn't going to. They thought for a few moments, York, it wasn't going to go Saints' way, because Gaskin actually when celebrating the try, went over on her knee, hyperextended it like that. Her knee almost folded in on itself. It almost bent the wrong way, and that was her done for the game. Hopefully the injury is not too serious. She seems to be posting on social media she's waiting for results and things like that, and as soon as we know, we do wish you a speedy recovery from Miss Gaskin. Anyway, it did eventually go with form, as well as Daniel Bush's first try. Rachel Woolsey and England pair Emily Rudge and Amy Hardcastle went over in the first half with 4 tries, with 2 conversions by Beth Starts. Things perked up a little for York as Sinead Peach crossed on the 49th minute, which was an easy conversion for Rianne Marshall. But Saints stretched clear with tries again from Woolsey, Carrie Roberts and Paige Travis, and one more conversion from Starts, as they were all out wide conversions that were difficult for anyone. Yes, there was the strings were just pulled by Emily Rudge, and that was the game. she was the best player on the park, Emily Rudge, after and took the mantle of ball player and led the line, put in the effort, and Saints deserved the win. The final scores was 34 points to 6 to St Helens, and it was a great advert for the women's game. Like I said, I wish it was in the middle of the two men's semi-finals so that it got more eyes on it. Eyes from both ends of the scale, the first and second semi-final. I've been saying that for the last few years, to be honest, when it came to the semi-final. But it's all about scheduling for the BBC and which gets the most eyes and premium slots and all that. Not about growth. Not about interest, sparking interest. Women's game is coming in the middle. Women's game, all the way through, because dads and their daughters will be able to watch their game. As the response from many that watched the first final, don't get me wrong, getting eyes on the prize is always the best thing. More interest. But it can be a family thing now. Men's, women's. I enjoyed the game because it had intensity, great hits by both sides, great defence, and also some good tries, some well-worked plays. Especially that first try of the game, which sets it up for St Helens. And it went on to being a St Helens win and a Challenge Cup final lifting of the trophy for St Helens. So just to let you know, while I'm watching this, Wakefield are hosting Lee Centurions, and the scores are currently 18 points to 14, with Wakefield on the attack. Penalty or 6 again has been shouted. 6 again. Oh no, not even 6 again. It was the last tackle given. That was a bad held, unless it was a. Okay, saying offside. Yep, offside to Lee. Anyway, started off 8-0 to Lee. They got to the 8-0 scoreline, and then in the last few minutes of the second half, it went 14-8 to the Wakefield, and Centurions scored again just after half time. Wakefield scored just after half time, with Centurions scoring to make the score 18-14 on the 63rd minute. I'll let you know how it gets on by the end of the video. So the second game we're going to have a quick insight into is the Hull versus St Helens game, as it was full of controversy, debate and discussions regarding one of the tries that scored, and also an expected outcome for the game. So Regan Grace scored twice for Saints of 5s of the Saints tries, which included one for Lachlan Coots and Jack Wellesby, as well as one by Theo Fage, which had a little too much controversy about it. I'll come to that in a moment, as Lachlan Coote was more or less perfect with the boots, as he scored 12. He kicked all the conversions. No, he kicked 6 goals out of, because they got a penalty as well, and Theo Fage added a drop goal just before half time. Marnie Fanua, Danny Houghton and Cameron Scott all scored Hull's tries, which were all successfully converted by Sneed as well. Sneed scored a penalty and he missed the third conversion on it to make it 18-13 to St Helens, 18-33 to St Helens. So Saints were leading 8 points to 2 when Griffin, who was running the ball out of defence, suddenly collapsed to the ground as his Achilles tendon gave way. And in agony, he did the one thing that coaches supposedly instill on us for. And since we started playing rugby league, you do not let go of the ball. There are many examples where you can look on the internet where people are being knocked out but they've still got a ball in their hands. There's one example that Harrison Hansen, that's it, was knocked out by Saints players at a Saints game, but he still got the ball, the main component of the entire game. But unfortunately, he let go of the ball. As we've taught in many different sports as well, you always play to the referee's whistle. Theo Farge picked up the ball and cantered in from 15 yards to score an easy try with no opposition, which referee Liam Moore had no alternative but to award the try after initially conferring with video ref James Child. So this won't be happy for Hull fans, I know that, but I'm on the same park as I've mentioned with the training, playing the sport, and also the referees in charge. You play to the whistle and you don't let go of the ball. You hear it in rugby union: if you've not broke your leg, you get back and tackle. Sean Edwards' mantra. You don't let go of the ball. I know he's injured and it'll probably be agony and he weren't thinking, but you have that muscle memory you should have that muscle memory to keep hold of the ball. I don't want anyone to be injured in the game at all, but we train for certain things, and that is, no matter what you do, you keep hold of the ball. It's a blow as well because Josh Griffin was in the frame of mind of being centre for the England squad coming up for the World Cup. Lee have just gone over to make it 18-20 as the conversion was successful. Anyway, but yeah, I know he was very injured and it is a pain in the ass. I'm sorry for using that language, but we've got to play with the ball with our hands, and he let go of it, which is one of the wrong things to do. Hopefully it was another one that we'll get back as soon as possible so that it can be either helpful to Hull's progression up the league to go towards the grand final, or gets into the England squad to help them win it this November. This game has definitely caught my eye because it was Warrington versus Castleford in the final game of the triple header, and out of the two teams and form and everything like that, Warrington were the team that were going into it favourites, as last week Leeds did a number, 60 points in Castleford, and Leeds aren't doing so well at this point. I must admit, there were 8 changes to that team against Leeds for Castleford, and they all came back in for Castleford's side this week. So, just to give you an idea, Castleford won 35 points to 20, with Gareth O'Brien scoring first, and a hat-trick by Jordan Turner were the main points of the Castleford's team, Castleford scoring. Don't get me wrong, Senny Lefeu was over for a try, and so was Paul McShane. Gareth O'Brien was on target with 5 goals, and Paul McShane put over the decisive drop goal before half time as well, to keep the momentum going in the Castleford Tigers' favour. Second half, this was another case of teams not starting the first half and coming back in the second, as all of Warrington's points were scored in the second half, with Ben Curry, Jake Malmo, who seems to be on a good form at the moment. He seems to be a better player this year. Might be because Steve Price is leaving, I just don't know. King and Charnley were also over for Warrington in a 22-minute spell, which saw Gareth Widdop hitting only 2 conversions. And after McShane went over on the 61st minute, the last point scored was a penalty by Gareth O'Brien, who has had a significant moments in many of rugby league teams' annals. So this has a very, very poignant effects on Daryl Powell, as it's his team now that beat his team for next season. That means sorry, I thought Wakefield were back over again. Anyway, that means in his farewell season for the Castleford Tigers, Daryl Powell is going to Wembley and leading out Castleford against Saints. It is going to be a good final, I hope, as there is a lot to say and a lot of stories that are happening during this game. I do have to say I think Saints will win the Challenge Cup, as you don't know what team's going to turn up for Castleford this time. If it's the 71-minute Castleford side from Saturday, then great. They've got no problems. But Saints are ultra consistent, and I think the Catalan result a couple of weeks ago was just an anomaly even. Try and get my words out. Towards their march to another grand final win. Yeah. So that's my reviews of the 3 games. So at this point, Wakefield are winning 24 points to 20, as they've just gone over and converted their try and have a penalty with 4 minutes to go. And finally today we have a quick look into the friendlies that were involved between 2 teams from the NARL and 2 teams from the USARL. First of all, we have a look into the Atlanta Rhinos versus the Delaware Black Foxes, as it was a friendly to launch rugby league in North Carolina. The score was not too flattering, to be fair. I think it ended up 72 points to 8 for the Atlanta team, and it was a good showcase, to be fair, to show the recruitment that was put and the training that was put into play by the Atlanta team, ready for what would be the NARL season in 2 weeks' time. We'll come to that little bit in about that in a moment, as there was another game as well, and that was the Washington DC Cavalry versus the Philadelphia Flight Rugby League. Excuse me there. That was another whitewash again. That was 86 points to 6. Both games were played in massive heats and were played in 4 quarters. Every team did their best to go through all their sets of plays and put in some good work and everything like that. The heats, though, was a factor in one of the games, the Atlanta game, as they were meant to break it down into the 4 quarters but ended up in 3, cutting the game down short. I think it's fair to do so, as the game was going one-sided anyway, and Atlanta were just going over for fun. The reason why I'm coming back to this a little bit is these might be the only games in 2021 at this point that Atlanta and Washington play. We're hearing that there are financial issues with the NARL, and that there's a statement going out tomorrow, Monday. You might have already seen this. This video is going out on the Monday, so it's a little bit later today, and I will respond to that in the next video when it's revealed. But it seems like financial issues is the burden of it, as there seems to have been an investor that's pulled out. They've only got Sports Flick at the moment, and no other TV management. Other teams, if this is the true case, then it's going to be really, really sad for 2021 with all the big hype. And yes, it was only the hype coming from the UK and Australia, all the countries that really invested in rugby league. They were the only ones that are really making us think about it. I, for one, was one of the optimists and was trying to help raise the profile of the North American Rugby League by doing these videos. I'm going to continue doing the videos because I have hope for rugby league, but it does need financing. I do hope that the video is postponing. The statement is postponing a little while, and they're going to try and keep these teams together so that they can play in each other, against teams in the USARL as friendlies, keeping everyone up and going, which leads to other teams coming involved, as there is interest out there, and there's also the West Coast. I'm hoping that they're just making an announcement tomorrow about financial issues, and they are planning to go ahead anyway, but part of me thinks that it is going to be postponed, and they're going to look to start it in 2022. Hopefully with better investment. Well, not better, because the people that were involved, I want to thank them to getting this project started, and we know it's going to be a long project. It just needs serious funding. I wish I was in a position to help it in that front. It's a sport that I'm passionate about, as I'm still bringing you results. For instance, it's now 30 points to 20 in the favour of Wakefield, and it's going up to the 80th minute. So, as much as I'm hoping, I'm thinking that the league is going to be postponed. I hope it doesn't fold before it even begins. But yeah, my heart is hoping for it to go ahead, but my head is saying yes, it's going to be postponed for 2021, and they'll revisit it in 2022. If they revisit it though, they've got to keep the avenues open and possibly introduce 2 new teams into each division. Make it bigger. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the friendlies and the North American Rugby League. We'll get more once the statement comes out. So that's it for another video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and also share these videos all the way around the world, because more sharing, more eyes, more people getting involved, the bigger we can grow rugby league. In the meantime, all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.